Hi, welcome to CloudEagle's Insights in Minutes.
Ever wondered if your AI assistant could secretly become your company's biggest security blind spot? Today, we're digging into the real risks and the overlooked realities of Claude AI in enterprise environments.
That tension is everywhere right now. I'm here to unpack these security questions from the inside, how enterprise teams are using Claude, what Anthropic secures, and where you have to step up. Let's demystify it.
So, here's what listeners can expect. We'll start with how Claude is embedded in more workflows than you think, clarify what Anthropic protects versus what you own, walk through recent vulnerabilities, and finish with actionable best practices plus a decision framework for your team.
I can't wait. And if you're part of IT or security, stick with us because we'll be connecting practical examples and real incidents. Ready to jump into where Claude is showing up across your enterprise?
It's wild how many teams are using Claude without realizing they're giving it high privilege access. Developers run Claude Code locally, planners use Claude AI, and engineers wire it into internal systems through MCP integrations.
That's the crux. Claude isn't just a chatbot anymore. It operates across three contexts: Claude AI, Claude Code, and API integrations. Each brings its own security posture. For example, Claude Code can access the local file system and run shell commands, while API integrations depend entirely on what you connect and what permissions you grant.
And if IT doesn't monitor these endpoints, a compromised Claude could access anything those integrations expose. It's not only about trusting Anthropic, it's about knowing what you've connected and who's using it.
Actually, a lot of companies don't even know if the Claude accounts are managed or personal. That ambiguity is a perfect recipe for security headaches, especially as agentic workflows grow more powerful.
Let's clarify the split. Anthropic secures the infrastructure layer with SOC 2 Type 2, ISO 27001, AES 256 encryption, and ASL 3 protocols. Paid plans ensure your enterprise data isn't used for training, and there's a bug bounty plus 24/7 monitoring.
But that's where the responsibility stops. Once Claude is running on your systems, your team controls what data gets input, which integrations are enabled, and how access is reviewed. If your developers use personal API keys or connect sensitive repos, the risk is yours.
That gap is crucial. Anthropic gives you a secure platform, but you have to monitor prompts, integrations, and account provisioning. Governance controls are what transform Claude from a security asset to a liability.
And those controls need to cover onboarding, offboarding, periodic reviews, plus making sure team members don't use personal accounts for sensitive work. Otherwise, you're just expanding your attack surface.
One of the biggest wake-up calls was the Claude AI vulnerability. Disclosed in March 2026, attackers used hidden HTML in Claude URLs to silently exfiltrate data from default Claude sessions. No integrations needed, just a compromised delivery channel.
What shocked me was how easily prompt integrity broke. Files API enabled attackers to grab chat history, financials, and strategic info simply by tricking users into opening a spoofed link. Anthropic patched it, but fixes are ongoing.
And then, Claude Code became an attack surface. CVE 2025595536 let attackers run shell commands and steal API keys via malicious config files. One bad MCP.json file could compromise a developer's machine and workspace data.
That pattern escalated in the GTG 1002 campaign. Multiple Claude instances coordinated AI-driven cyber attacks targeting dozens of organizations. Minimal human involvement, but real damage AI agents are now a live threat vector.
So, what should security teams actually do? First, enforce least privilege, don't let Claude Code run in directories with production secrets, and always use individual API keys that are rotated regularly.
Every MCP server and integration needs auditing. Review config files before opening any repo, and never trust unverified sources. Least privilege should apply to every connection scope, not just the big ones.
Sensitive data should never end up in prompts. Use DLP tools, define clear categories like PII and legal docs, and train employees with specific examples. It's about building guardrails.
Treat Claude Code like a privileged user. Require IT approval, restrict access to production environments, and log all activity. Human review for agentic tasks, regular log reviews, These are non-negotiable if you want to stay ahead.
Native controls from Anthropic and Microsoft only cover approved accounts. But the real risks come from shadow AI personal Claude accounts, unsanctioned Claude Code installs, and usage patterns outside managed environments.
That's where platforms like CloudEagle.ai step in. They give you unified visibility, discovering every AI tool in your environment, mapping access, and tracking spend in real time. You get structured workflows, instant revocation, and compliance mapping across GDPR, HIPAA, SOC2, and more.
And spend visibility isn't just about budgeting it flags, anomalous spikes that might mean compromised API keys. Plus, governance controls extend to onboarding and offboarding, so access doesn't linger where it shouldn't.
The same frameworks you use for SaaS now cover AI. That creates a compliance boundary, keeping Claude from operating as an unmanaged risk.
Let's wrap up with a quick decision framework. Ask yourself, are all Claude accounts tied to corporate SSO? Do you track every MCP server? Are API keys managed and rotated? Have you mapped data flows into compliance scopes? And is audit logging enabled with human review checkpoints?
3 big takeaways. First, Anthropic's infrastructure is strong, but the platform isn't the whole story. Second, security gaps appear when high privilege access isn't governed, especially with Claude Code and personal accounts. Third, continuous monitoring and governance tools like CloudEagle.ai are essential to keep AI within your risk boundaries.
Your next step? Build or update your acceptable use policy for Claude. Make sure everyone knows what data is prohibited, which account types are approved, and how to report accidental exposures. That's your foundation for safer AI adoption.
Thanks for joining us today. If you want more practical security checklists or compliance frameworks, check the show notes. Until next time, stay vigilant and treat your AI tools like privileged users.